Hello, my name is Rob and today I'm going to go buy some books. Welcome to Rob's Randoms. This is a channel where I make videos about things that interest me, and books are things that interest me. So next week I'm off on holiday. In fact, by the time this video comes up I might even be back from my holiday. But for it I need some books because I've only got one to read and I'm going away for 10 days and I'm going to be reading more than one book. So my first stop was a charity shop called Lighthouse. This is run by the Valley SIDS charity, who is a Christian charity raising money for the local community. This charity shop did have a pretty big book selection, but not many books that particularly interested me. I'm generally more interested in more classic novels or things with a quirky story. The first book I looked at was an anthology book by Anthony Horowitz called Horror 1. Anthony Horowitz is a prolific author who has written plenty of books, including some James Bond novels, and written for TV and film, maybe best known for creating the TV series Foyle's War. While I like horror, I wasn't looking for horror specifically, and this seemed more like a young adult kind of thing, so I put it back. Next up was John Green's Looking for Alaska. As an author, John Green is most famous for writing The Fault in Our Stars, but as a person, he's probably most famous for being part of the Vlogbrothers, a YouTube channel he runs with his brother Hank. Looking for Alaska does have a good review on Goodreads, but maybe I was just assuming it was going to be a lot like The Fault in Our Stars, and that put me off, so I put it back. Next up I looked at a book called The Slaughter in the Apperton Tunnel. I think it was the word slaughter in the title here that piqued my interest. So this book is by Edward Marston, which is one of the pseudonyms used by Keith Miles. This book is part of the Railway Detective series set in the middle of the 19th century, and it's about two detectives from Scotland Yard solving murders in which railways always play some vital role. The book has a good score on Goodreads, so maybe I should have actually picked it up, but because it was part of a series I was worried I wouldn't understand what was going on exactly, so I put it back. Next I looked at This Is Going to Hurt, written by Adam Kay. This is a very well reviewed book and actually became a TV series back in 2022. It took me a minute to realise that I've actually seen that TV series, and my wife actually has a copy of the book and has read it if I was interested. Next was Standing in Another Man's Grave by Ian Rankin. This is a detective novel following the story of Detective Rebus. I have read a novel about Detective Rebus before and I quite liked it, so I did pick this one up. Then I went to another charity shop called Headway, who raise money for people who have suffered brain injuries. This shop actually had a very small book selection and I didn't find anything that was particularly interesting, aside from Christmas at the Cupcake Cafe by Jenny Colgan. I love Christmas and the whole front cover just seemed really nice. But after looking at it, it looked to be a romance novel, which I'm not interested in, so I did put it back. My final stop was Tesco, which may seem like an odd choice, but my local Tesco Extra has a bookshelf where people can donate books, and that money is donated to the charity Framework, who help furnish local flats. Here I found a book called Wilderness Death Hunt by David Thomas. This is the 8th book in the Wilderness series. The series is set in the 1820s and is all about people's struggle to survive in the Old West. It did look interesting, but again it was part of a series and also looked a bit pulpy, so I did put it back. Here I also saw another copy of Looking for Alaska and a copy of The Great Gatsby, which I already own a copy of, so I didn't pick it up. I also found a copy of the novelisation of the Smurfs movie, but I want to see the film first, I don't want to spoil it, so I put it back. Then I found Cause for Alarm by Eric Ambler. This is a spy novel written in 1938, so actually before the start of World War II. It's all about espionage and the rising tension between the countries. Eric Ambler was known for writing thrillers, and particularly spy thrillers, and this was one of his earliest works. I like a good thriller, and I love reading old books like this because it's also a window into the past, and I love that. So I paid for my book, and that was the end of my shopping trip. So I'm just back, and I managed to get two books. We have got Cause for Alarm by Eric Ambler, which I bought mainly because it's a Penguin Modern Classics. Just looked it up on Goodreads and it's got a 3.98, which is pretty good. And the other one was Ian Rankin, Standing in Another Man's Grave, which I bought because I quite like Ian Rankin. So this is one of his series about the Detective Rebus. I've read a few of those books before. They were pretty good. So I looked this one up on Goodreads. This has got a 4.08 out of 5. So both of these are pretty good. They both seem relatively short, things that I could finish quite quickly, and they interest me. So I looked at lots of different books there. Let me know in the comments if you recognised any of them, if you could actually recommend any of them. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching. My name is Rob, and I will see you in another random video very soon.